Welcome to RCTech. This is Ritesh Srinivasan. I recently came upon this survey paper. It talks about federated learning for big data. So it covers on say the applications and future directions and what are the opportunities in federated learning for big data. So let's look at this paper in this video. Paper, the authors discuss about a preliminary introduction to what is federated learning and big data. Then they talk about federated learning for big data services. Then they talk about federated learning for big data applications. They also review some of the federated learning projects, federated learning big data practical projects. And then they talk about the key challenges and promising directions on federated learning for big data. Okay, so in today's video, let me cover what is federated learning and what is big data. And how what is federated learning for big data services and federated learning for big data applications. In the future, maybe I will talk about the practical projects as well as the key challenges and promising directions on federated learning big data. Okay, so let's just directly jump into what is federated learning. So federated learning is a new learning paradigm where statistical models are trained on multiple edge devices in a distributed network without sharing their training data. So I have already made a video on what is federated learning. You can check that as well. But the key idea is that you have data which is distributed across multiple edge devices, and you have a model, right, or a machine learning algorithm which distributes the model to each of these edge devices where local training happens, and then there is an aggregation of the model at the central server. Okay, so that is the idea over here. So why has this come into prominence? It is because of the increasing computational power and storage capacity of smart devices. The smart devices could be mobile phones, wearable devices, autonomous vehicles. Some of the what you call examples are over here. Then it could be about storing data and processing data can be executed at the edge locally in distributed networks, especially in the era when information privacy is priority. So you don't want to send all the private information to a central location where you do your machine learning, but you send the model from the central location to your edge device and the learning happens over there. Okay, and then there is an aggregation back at a global level or the central server where you get the global model, which is again then transmitted for inferences at the edge devices. So this is federated learning. Okay, so if you look at federated learning based on the data property, right, you have three categories, which is like horizontal federated learning, vertical federated learning, and federated transfer learning. Let's look at what it is. So in horizontal federated learning frameworks, the edge devices local train statistical models using their own data sets having the same feature space but different sample space. Okay, so same features are there, but the sample size may vary. Okay, in the local edge devices. Okay, due to this property of input training data, all devices should utilize the same AI model. This AI model could be support vector machines or deep neural networks, but it should be the same model. For example, of horizontal federated learning applications, the hospitals collect the health data of different patients with the electronic medical records having the same attributes. Okay, so this is horizontal federated learning. Then you have vertical federated learning. So it is different from horizontal federated learning. So here local data sets share the same samples but differ in features. Okay, so you could have to collect overlapping data samples in different edge devices, and entity alignment mechanism is utilized. So in this example, you can have different hospitals collect the health data of the same patient but differ in attributes, such as in one hospital it is diabetic retinopathy, in another hospital it is cardiovascular disease, right? And in hospital C it is diabetic nephropathy. So this is vertical federated learning. So here the feature space can differ across these edges, and probably over here what will happen is that if you have a diabetic retinopathy model, then only at certain edge where this information is present, that model will be trained. It will not be like a same AI model across all the local edge devices. Okay, the third one is federated transfer learning. It is proposed for unrelated learning scenarios in which the local datasets totally differ in the sample space and feature space. In this framework, the knowledge of local models is transferred across domain by the federated transfer learning server. So for example, in the healthcare domains, disease diagnosis can be collaborated by multiple hospitals in different countries, where the electronic medical records of various tests are collected from different patients. So you can have a centralized model which has been developed for a certain disease diagnosis, but then you can send it to a local edge or a node where it is transfer learned for another disease or a different set of data. So that is the idea over here. Okay, so this was the taxonomy of federated learning based on the data property. Okay, so you have horizontal, you have vertical, and then you have transfer learning. Then you have the network topology, which is basically how does the communications happen. Okay, so there are two categories. In a centralized federated learning system, all devices transmit the trained parameters of local models to the federated learning or central server for updating the global model with the parameter aggregation algorithm. Okay, afterward the server delivers the computed global model to all clients in a network for the next training iteration. So this is the most common. Okay, the second one is that this is a simple idea where you have a central server and you have these local nodes. So the local nodes learn a model on their data and they send the trained parameters to the central server where there is a parameter aggregation which happens, right? And then again this aggregated model is sent back to the local edges for the next training iteration. In decentralized federated learning system, all devices are connected over a peer-to-peer communication. A device can transmit the model parameter locally trained on its own dataset to neighbors as well as receive their model updates to aggregate parameters. So this is like a peer-to-peer learning system. Okay. So this was about what is federated learning and the taxonomy of federated learning based on the data as well as data property as well as network topology. So this is a diagram which shows all these things together, right? So you can have these various edge devices like smartphone, mobile computer or smart vehicle. So you have this global model which is being pushed to this local edge devices which learns its own learns on its local model is learned on the local data, and then the parameter are sent for uploading the model updates which goes over here to the federated server where you have the global model which is done by aggregation, and again it is sent back to these local nodes. Okay, right, now the next thing is what is big data. Okay, so big data refers to massive data set with heterogeneous formats which could be structured, unstructured and semi-structured data, but it has three key characteristics. Okay, one is there is a large volume with incessant generation from millions of devices and applications. So there is a large volume of data which is being generated, and this data is also generated with a high velocity with real-time data acquisition and processing. And there is also high variety with various sources and multiple formats. So this is the 3 V's of big data, which is your volume, velocity and variety. Okay, so what are the this thing like sources of big data? It could be from multiple sensors, right, multiple systems, right? So again there is the taxonomy of big data which is explained in this paper. So here it is based on data domain. Right, so there are various domains in which big data has been arisen in the last decade, right? It can be determined based on the time span of processing and the degree of the data structure. So data domain can be classified into 3 groups, which is based on the time span of the data generation, which is batch. So here you have bioinformatics, geosciences, forensics and other large scale sciences. Then it could be near real time, which is retail and sensory data, and then there is real time, which includes finance, social networking, network security. Okay, so these are some of the domains, and this is the way the data has been generated, right? So it could be batch generation, it could be near real-time generation, or it could be real-time generation. Okay, and these are the certain domains. Okay, right? So you can also classify into 3 degrees of the data structure, which is structured data. It is relational databases and spreadsheets. right? Unstructured data, which is raw signals from sensors or nature, or data without predefined structural model. It could be voice, image, video, and sensory data. Whereas for structured data, it could be from domains like retail, finance, bioinformatics, and geosciences, right? And then you have semi-structured, which is a hybrid of both. Both say structured and unstructured data. It could be like web blogs, email, and documents. Okay, so this is the data domain. Now, based on the storage infrastructure, you can have what do you call storage platforms, which could be you can have NoSQL databases, you can have relational SQL databases, right? So you can have different kinds of databases in which the data has been stored. Okay, then you can have compute infrastructure. It's again based on the time span, right? For batch mode and real time and near real time mode. So based on this, you can have say MapReduce or bulk synchronous parallel processing methods. Okay, so and for low latency like streaming, you would have platforms like Apache Storm and Apache Spark, right? So this is then you have the AI based data processing, so which is again the different kind of ML algorithms which can be applied on this particular data. It could be supervised, unsupervised learning, semi-supervised learning, reinforcement learning, deep learning, all those things, right? So if you look at this whole thing, it comes up like this. You have big data, right? You have data domains. The data domains can be different from large scale science, right? You have finance, you have retail, you have visual media, sensory data, social networking, network security, right? So a lot of data is generated from these various domains, right? Based on the data, right? Now how the data is stored, again you have relational SQL, you have new SQL, non-SQL. So you have these different SQL databases, you have non-SQL databases or new SQL databases for your how the data, big data which has been generated is stored. Now how the data is processed, again it could be like in batch, real time, near real time, right? And these are the domains which kind of overlaps over here. So in batch data you can have sensory data, you can have near real time sensory data as well. In real time you have finance domain, retail domain, social networking, network security. You have visual media, which could be in any of these three levels over here. And in the data, this thing you can have structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. Then you have your AML part, which is like all the different kinds of algorithms which are present over here. Could be supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, reinforcement, deep learning. And then you have the compute infrastructure, which could be batch mode or stream mode. And for batch mode, you have these MapReduce and bulk synchronous parallel, these kind of technologies. And for streaming, you have Spark, Storm, InfoSphere, so these kind of technologies. So this gives you an idea of what is big data, what is federated learning. Okay, now let us look at what is the motivation for your federated learning, right? On big data basically, right? One is the security and data privacy. So to extract meaningful information and capture patterns of data generated by the edge devices, so the traditional AI and ML algorithms are usually adopted in the centralized server to train statistical learning models. Okay, data should be transferred from all these devices to a central server. Now, which in turn creates security and privacy risks over cyber attacks, right? So in federated learning, you need not do this. Instead of uploading the data to the server, federated learning allows devices to train models with their datasets locally and transfer model parameters to the server for aggregation. Okay, then the communication cost of sending data between client and server, even that reduces over here, because you are only sending the model, right? You are only transferring the trained statistical models to the FL server instead of the entire data. Okay, then in you can also handle data variety, right? So you could have different types of data, and you can still handle it over here in federated learning. So each device and clients may take into consideration a specific data type locally, thus reducing the complexity of local data management at the federated learning server. So when you have multiple types of different data coming into a server, it becomes difficult. And then you can also do analysis, at a say federated learning. What it does over here is that can offer a universal DL model to different data modalities or for a same learning tasks. In many centralized computing system, what happens is that learning, classification and regression models with multimodality can be accomplished using advanced methods, but its processing framework will be much more complicated. So say data-based, feature-based, decision-based. So there are different methods to do a centralized learning. In federated learning, what they claim is that you can have a universal deep learning model to different data modalities of a same learning task. Then you have the scalability. Okay. So this is what is about federated learning. Now let's look at federated learning for big data services. Okay. So here they have given different things, like there is this figure which illustrates the federated learning for big data services. Some key things which I liked over here is that one example of federated learning implementation in big data security is found in a particular paper. It talks about, it's a known fact that credit card transaction data sets are generally skewed and the number of data relevant to fraudulent activities are quite less. Hence, it becomes extremely difficult to understand and analyze patterns of frauds and later detect actual frauds because it's an imbalanced data set. Okay. So in this paper, they proposed in the reference, they have proposed a federated learning for fraud detection framework, which enabled the banks to learn the fraud detection model by training the data distributed in their localized database. So you can use federated learning for fraud detection. Right? The federated learning, the fraud detection system is constructed by aggregation of local computational updates of the fraud detection model. So the banks thus can achieve data privacy because the data need not be shared to a central location. It is local data, right? So this is about, federated learning for big data acquisition, right? So you have it could be secure big data collection, it could be secure big data sharing, and there are other things like privacy preservation, big data analysis, right? Storage, all those stuff. So let's go into that table where they have explained this very well, where they have summarized this well, right? So here is the benefits and challenges of federated learning for big data services. Okay, so here are the existing challenges, here are the benefits. So in the big data acquisition, there is a challenge, right? The existing challenge is data privacy, data sharing rules and lack of information, right? Then you need to also data security and privacy for maintaining the storage of local data at a central location. If you have difficulty to understand and analyze data patterns of fraud transaction and later detect actual frauds, poor latency time for data exchange among decentralized multiple parties. So if you have to collect data from different sources, put it into a central location, it presents its own challenges. Now, if you use federated learning, you can achieve data privacy without sharing the data or sensitive information of the users. Right? You can also achieve secure and fast data exchange but from decentralized multiple parties because you are just exchanging the model. Right? Training data is held onto the device with no individual update sent to the cloud. So in the local device, you can enforce your own privacy and security. Okay. And you can learn and understand the global model without compromising on the data privacy. So this is the benefit of using federated learning for big data acquisition. Now for big data storage, again, if the central server becomes unavailable, your entire training process will be disrupted. The central server can have poor bandwidth and unreliable communications links with the agents to transfer big data. It could be poor data storage infrastructure, poor latency time. All these things can be overcome over here because it's a decentralized approach where the model relies on the own resources of the node and can be used an alternate to perform the training. You can have mobile agents to collaborate in the model's training that does not rely on any central server, maintains the heterogeneity of the data and hence reducing the deviation of training in the ML model, decouples the ability to implement machine learning based on the need to store data in the cloud. Okay. Now if you look at big data analytics, the issues are again central location, right? Privacy concerns will come up. Secure data training in the cloud has concerns related to network cost and data privacy. Leaking of sensitive information could be possible, and conventional AI and ML approaches are becoming impractical in several data sensitive and mission critical scenarios like health, government, finance sectors where privacy is very important. Obviously, federated learning will give you privacy reservation and privacy protection, right? And network connectivity issues are less over here because you are only sending the, and limited computation resources are required because you are not training on the entire data, but you are training on smaller chunks of data, right? The network members can download the aggregated model that can be used to provide edge intelligence, so you can have inference on the edge, and it ensures security and variability of federated learning algorithms that train on the big data. And coming to privacy preservation, the challenges are in the current setup. When you have big data in a central location, you have privacy preservation challenges in processing, storage, sensitive information, and also exchange of data, whereas all those things are overcome over here in federated learning because the raw data is distributed in the local nodes. Only the model parameters are being shared to a central server. If you are doing something like centralized federated learning, basically where you have a central server for updating the models. If you are doing peer-to-peer, even that is not there. Okay, so this was about the advantages and benefits of using federated learning for big data. Okay, so till now we have looked at what is big data, what is federated learning, and how is federated learning useful for big data processing. Okay, now let us look at the important thing of certain applications of federated learning on big data, federated learning with big data, right? So one of the applications which has been explained in this paper is the concept of smart city. Okay, so smart city improves the quality of life of the urban citizens by optimizing the functions of the cities and promotion of economic growth by making use of data analysis and smart technologies like Internet of Things. So Internet of Things sensors are placed throughout the smart cities to collect information regarding traffic, air quality, conditions of the road, garbage, etc. So these will generate a large volume of data and at a very fast pace. So you need to use big data analytics over here to provide some solutions for issues like healthcare, communication, transportation, garbage collection, disaster management, etc. Okay, so the idea is over here is that you have a lot of data which has been generated in smart cities through multiple sensors. Now these sensors could send in different information. Something could be about traffic, something could be about the weather conditions, something could be about air pollution, right? Something could be about accidents or things like this. Now how do you make sense of this information to provide services back to the city, right? One of the services could be a safety monitoring system, right? So safety monitoring system is a very important application in a smart city. It could be like monitoring fire hazards, right? So building models for object detection recognition on large data sets that are stored centrally is a very challenging task due to the high cost involved in transmitting video or image data and privacy issues. To overcome these issues, in one of the papers, these authors actually proposed a machine learning platform, so Liu et al., named FedVision, that leverages federated learning in computer vision related application. So FedVision is deployed with the collaboration between Extreme Vision and VBank for smart city applications that can be used by customers in developing safety monitoring systems. Okay, so this is one example, right? Another one is like healthcare infrastructure. Training large volumes of medical data in central server involves several challenges. So to address these things, they have proposed, federated learning paradigm for large volumes of medical data. So in cases like crisis like COVID-19, a city's digital twin can face several challenges due to its reliance on high quality and long-term data. To address these challenges, these authors proposed a federated learning-based city digital twin to efficiently accumulate insights for heterogeneous sources of data. Okay, it could be also about unmanned aerial vehicles which are monitoring the city for different things like movement of citizens during pandemics, disaster management, monitor traffic, etc. So how do you collect information from these unmanned aerial vehicles and then do your processing for certain applications? Okay, the next is federated learning enabled big data in smart healthcare. Okay, so in healthcare applications, privacy is very important. Patient data cannot be shared across hospitals. right? So the traditional machine learning methods face several issues like exposing the private and sensitive information of hospital patients. With federated learning, the computational model itself will be executed at the data source, which is the hospital or the edge device at the hospital. Hence, federated learning has a huge potential in smart healthcare applications. Okay, so here are some examples over here, where these particular authors actually proposed, Kayam et al. So they proposed a edge assisted framework for automatic diagnosis of COVID-19 using clustered federated learning. The proposed framework can help in performing analytics for large volumes of ultrasound and X-ray related information of COVID-19 patients at the federated learning enabled edge. So if the hospital which is performing these ultrasounds and X-ray, there is a federated learning model which is deployed in the hospital which can detect the presence of COVID-19. Right. Similarly, there is a other author, Silva et al. They have proposed a framework based on federated learning to train the ML models on data banks that contain brain images. Okay. So the proposed approach is mainly aimed at privacy preservation of the sensitive information of the patients. Right. So here is this integration of federated learning and big data for medical and healthcare services. So the idea is you can have medical records which are present in hospitals and you want to perform learning on them. So you can have multiple hospitals, you can have a certain model for a certain disease diagnosis on these medical records which is aggregated at the server and learnt locally. Right? It could be about lung image from different modalities, detecting cancers or detecting COVID-19 or something like that. It could be something like a 3D image, MR image. So there are multiple modalities. It could be from health reports. So you can perform learning on these particular data without sending the data outside of the hospital infrastructure. You can have local computing within the hospital infrastructure, which makes it, privacy preserving. Right? And you also get variety of data, which is also a challenge in healthcare because different hospitals, different equipments, the quality of the data is different. So you can train your model on a variety of data as well over here. So there is also this Fed Home, which is like based on federated learning for in-home monitoring of health. The authors aim to address the existing challenges of privacy preservation and transferring of large volumes of data that exist using machine learning algorithms which are used in-home patients data in a central server. So if you are something like monitoring patients at home and each day the data is sent from the home to some central location, there could be issues of data security over there and privacy. So if you have a federated learning framework where your algorithm runs on your app on your mobile phone or on a tablet where the data is collected, right? It learns something over here and then just sends the model updates to the federated learning server. There is no privacy loss. At the same time, you also have a global model. Okay. So this is about the healthcare. Now with more and more 5G enabled devices coming, and with 5G enabled this thing, so you can also have a wide reach and collaboration between different institutions. Even rural areas, you can have 5G based devices which communicate you can perform something like a federated learning on just X-ray images or say federated learning on other modalities by actually having a central model and then sending the model to these edge devices, these 5G connected devices, and you can get a global model. So that is what is explained over here. So this paper actually covers a lot of use cases. So in the references you have a lot of use cases, so you can go into each of these papers if you are interested and read further. Okay, so this is a very good survey paper. And then you have federated learning for big data, which is like your smart transportation. Right, so this could be about detecting congestion in the city, rerouting of traffic, right, and other kind of scenarios. I wouldn't go too much into details over here, but the idea is that you can perform a federated based learning based architecture for video analytics, for traffic monitoring, right, and those kind of use cases over here. Similarly, federated learning can also be used for big data in smart grid. So the electric grid concept is aging, and the correct electric grid infrastructure is finding it difficult to handle the things it is not designed for. Now you have IoT, communication networks, equipment, basically Internet of Things, and you have modernized electric grids termed as smart grids. So there will be a huge amount of data coming from these smart grids. So you can have these machine learning models to detect, say, power outages or predict power outages. Right, what could be the impact of storms on the electricity supply, etc. Now with your, again, having, you know, local smart grids, right, and you have federated learning, a central server, and you can have local what you call device training at these individual smart grids. You can actually perform the machine learning model learning. In this way, actually, you can come up with different what you call federated learning models for smart grids. Okay, then you have federated learning for online recommender systems. Again, you don't want to collect all data to a central location for privacy purposes. That could be used in retail or e-commerce. And then you can have your machine learning model which learns your preferences on your device. At the same time, it can also send model updates to the central location. Okay, so that is the idea over here. Then federated learning for big data for 5G and 6G. And then your devices, it could be for social media, right? And there could be other applications like unmanned aerial vehicles and stuff like that. So there is also a nice summary of these benefits and challenges of federated learning in big data applications, where every area is covered over here in terms of applications in smart city, applications in smart healthcare, right, smart transportation, online. So the key thing which you will see across all these domains is privacy preservation, inference at edge devices, reduced data transmission, right, faster reduced latency, faster results in the edge devices, right? That is what generally federated learning has been helping in. Okay, so I have covered about what is the applications of federated learning in certain domains like healthcare, say in transportation and smart grids, right, in smart city. I have explained over here how federated learning is useful for big data services. What is big data? Right, what is federated learning? What are the different types of federated learning, like vertical federated learning, horizontal federated learning, right? And federated transfer learning. What is the network topology, which is like centralized federated learning, decentralized federated learning system? And then how is big data processed? Like, is it in batch, near real time, right? So this paper kind of gives you a very good overview on these topics. So the authors over here, Thipareddy et al., they have actually covered a lot of details in this survey paper. So you can look at this survey paper. I have not covered about federated learning frameworks and what are the key challenges and promising direction of federated learning on big data. I will try to cover it in another video. But I have covered over here from this survey paper about what is federated learning, what is big data, how is federated learning, how can federated learning be applied to big data, what are certain domains where you can see applications of federated learning for big data. I hope you find this video useful. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. See you in a new video. Happy learning.